sports every day is ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
30 on ESPN News.
The Ant Mobile AMA Supercross Lights East Coast Series is getting set for opening night. The riders have had a little extra time to get set for some serious racing action. 2005 race winners Davey Millsaps on a Honda and Josh Hansen atop his KTM are prepared to battle fiercely for the top spot on the podium. Chad Johnson has already captured an Arena Cross title this year, and each hopes to bring home the trophy from the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis. Next. Mobile AMA Supercross Lights East Coast Series riders are ready to drop the gate in St. Louis and begin the battle for the highly sought-after crown. On this frozen night in the Midwest, the best way to stay warm is to grab a handful of throttle and let your adrenaline take over as round one gets underway. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside former Supercross Lights champion Denny Stevenson. We've had some great races on the West Coast and some very talented riders here on the East Coast, Denny. Do you expect the same type of competition?
Definitely, Ralph. This is the opening round of 7 for the East Coast guys. Josh Hansen, Davey Millsaps, they threw it down last year in 2005. Throw in Chad Johnson, the National Arena Cross champion. We got a big night of racing here in St. Louis.
Well, let's show you how the points stacked up at the end of 2005. As you can see, there was actually a tie for the #1 spot between Grant Langston and Josh Hansen. However, Langston was awarded the title because he had more wins. And Langston this year in 2006 competing for the West Coast Championship. Now, before we begin the night with our first race of the evening, let's head downstairs to Chris Devoda, who's standing by with one guy who's already won a title this year.
The Supercross Lights East Coast division is just getting underway, but one of the riders, already a champion, Chad Johnson, just recently clinched the Toyota Arena Cross National Championship. Chad, congratulations, and you did it in dramatic fashion.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, me and Brock went in there tied the last weekend, and, you know, we battled hard Friday night, and I ended up getting him, and then Saturday night he ended up getting me, so it was definitely a tight finish. I only won by 1 point, and, you know, I was just happy to be the champion and come out on top. But, you know, Junior Jackson and Yamaha were definitely 100% behind me, my family, my wife, you know, everybody was behind me for it, so it definitely made it a lot easier. But, you know, I'm pumped to be here at St. Louis on my Motor World Racing PPG Yamaha, just going into another season.
You overtook Brock, that being Brock Sellers, by that 1 point. Do you feel like that's going to be an advantage to you, already having that championship and kind of, you know, dealing with some adversity in that series here in the Lights?
Yeah, for sure. You know, you definitely come in a little headstrong, and you know, it's definitely, I think, going to help out. And, you know, I'm just trying to get used to my bikes here and put in some good rides.
All right, he comes in with confidence. Last year, he finished 13th in the East standings.
Thank you, Krista. Okay, Denny, take us for a lap around the racetrack here inside the Edward Jones Dome.
Here in St. Louis, we're moving east. One thing when you move east, the dirt's considerably softer. Ruts are going to develop. But we got a long section of whoops tonight. Not quite as deep as that opening round at Anaheim, but a nice long set. Going to make some changes. Traction to break down a little bit. The whoops going to be a good place to pass. You see Sean Hamlin on his Rockstar Alloy Suzuki coming through the rhythm section. A couple different ways to get through that. You can either double in, triple out, or maybe some guys even can triple in. A dragon back whoop section, doubling into another off-camber section. Some ruts going to develop there as well. A single double into the very first triple jump off the track. Big air for Sean Hamlin into a little rhythm section. And this section's very cool. You jump on, and you jump off there. It's a new way to use the tunnel jump here in St. Louis. Into the second triple jump. Another flat jump into about 5 whoops. A tight left. And that's the first lap, an opening lap here in St. Louis with Sean Hamlin.
Let's show you the road to tonight's main event. We'll begin with 2 heat races. Each one of those heat races will be made up of 20 riders, 6 laps with the top 9 advancing straight to the main event. Now, if you haven't transferred out of the heats to the main, you get one last shot in the last chance qualifier. 22 riders, 4 laps. Top 4 go straight on to the main event. And that main event will be 15 laps with 22 riders. Let's show you our Dunlop starting list for heat number 1. Josh Grant, Justin Buckaloo in this one. Sean Hamlin will be a rider we'll be talking a lot about, Denny.
Yeah, the greatest thing about an opening round of a series, Ralph, is that all these guys feel they can win right now. None of them kind of settled into a spot on the field, and all of them think they can win. That's the greatest thing about an opening race, and I think we're going to see a lot of guys run up front we probably didn't see last season.
Let's head downstairs now to Chris Devoda, who's standing by with a Progressive pre-race report.
guys, we've been talking a lot about Davey Millsaps, and we will continue to talk about him, but two other Hondas in this heat race we need to keep our eye on. Number 141, Steve Boniface, and number 24, Josh Grant. Josh was second only to Millsaps in the second practice. The gate is about to drop. We're getting moved off the course. Keep your eye on both of those Honda riders. Boniface with 6 in points last year. Grant was 8th.
And that's Steve Boniface right there, the number 141. Our onboard camera will be carried by Sean Hamblin. The Rockstar Suzuki Bills Pipes Helmet Cam. Here we go. Coming out of turn number 1, give the edge to the 24 of Joshua Grant.
Josh is coming off a knee surgery. He tore up his ACL in the offseason. Yeah, he was originally scheduled to ride the West Coast, but bumped over to the East Coast, and now he is out front in his heat race number 1. Obviously looking like that ACL is all healed up.
Quick onboard shot from Hamlin. First lap is completed.
Josh is laying down some really fast lap times in practice. The second fastest guy out there. He's now out front, taking off real quickly. The guy in second, we saw just behind the screen right there, goes down big time in the whoops. I believe that was one of the Star Racing riders, number 53 of Matt Gerke, but nonetheless, it's Josh Grant out front.
And Gerke was riding up near the front. And Grant is really starting to open up a pretty good lead here.
Yeah, that's the best thing about getting out front early. He can ride this track himself. He knows he can lay down some quick lap times. He's already done it in practice. Clear track ahead means he can pick his own line, jump all the things he knows how to do it, just break away.
Krista, what can you tell us about Josh Grant?
Well, guys, Josh Grant is definitely hungry. You know, he's kind of been the forgotten rider, especially for Honda. His best finish last year was second. That was at Daytona. This is kind of the time of year when he really starts to peak. Of course, the Daytona race last year, a little earlier in the season, that really set him off. He's ready to try to turn things around this year with this race here in St. Louis.
Daytona coming up in a couple of weeks. Of course, you'll see it right here on speed. And look at the gap between first and second place. It belongs to McGurdy right now, the 248. Donnie McGurdy out of Tampa, Florida on the Kawasaki, the Team Green Rider. There's a good look at the number 93 of Mayer. Pete Teddy's holding down third place right now.
Teddy Mayer, young rider from Iowa, riding on that Richmond Kawasaki Moose Parts Limited. He's teaming up with, he's actually teammates with Donnie McGordy, getting a chance to show his wares here in this East Coast Series. And Josh Grant, on the other hand, Josh has been known more as an outdoor specialist. I mean, he's had some good results in Supercross, but he's really excelled outdoors. It looks like in this offseason, despite being injured a little bit, he has turned it around and figured out this Supercross class.
Everything smooth for Grant as he's got a healthy lead. Remember, the top 9 transfers straight on to the main event. Josh Grant leading here in heat number 1.
ESPN gets your motor running each and every Saturday with 2 hours of power we call the engine block. 2-wheel, open wheel, or off the beaten path. Brought to you the way only ESPN can. Plenty of full throttle programs to keep every motorhead happy. The Engine Block, Saturday afternoons, only on ESPN.
Hello from the old International Football Nerve Centre here at ESPN, the ESPN SoccerNet Press Pass studio, of course. Tommy's with me. It's time to take a look at what you've been saying this week. ESPNSoccerNet.com is the website. Look for the Press Pass link. And Tommy, our first question comes to us from Costas in Adelaide. Manchester United bought 2 defenders in the last transfer window. Why didn't they buy a midfield player?
Seems like a strange decision, but I think Evra may be a midfield player eventually.
OK, from Australia, we go to the United States. This is from Eric in Houston. Of all the losing teams in the first leg matches in the first knockout round of the Champions League, which ones have the best chance of moving on?
Well, I think if you write off Real Madrid, you're doing so at your own risk. But the team that definitely has a great chance has to be Juventus going home.
All right, we want to know what you think about these issues and more. ESPNsoccernet.com is the website you need to know about. And as always, look for that Press Pass link.
A new chapter in the history of baseball begins with the first World Baseball Classic. 16 nations will measure forces to determine who rules inside the diamond. Round 1 action, Korea versus Chinese Taipei. Friday on ESPN. ESPN brings you a sneak peek at the best teams in the world as they warm up for the World Cup in June. This Thursday, live from Liverpool, David Beckham, Michael Owen and the fearless English squad will face off against Uruguay. Later, as part of the group of death, Holland will have to show its intimidating power against Ecuador. England takes on Uruguay. Later, Holland faces off against Ecuador. This Thursday, live on ESPN.
Unbelievable. Oh, it's a great goal.
What a shot from Pavel Nedved!
So Josh Grant continues to lead, just pulling away right now. McGurdy behind him in second, Mayer back in third, and one rider moving up through the field is Davey Millsaps. Millsaps on the 118. There he is right there. And Denny, this is a rider we expected to see not just transferring to the main, which he'll do with his fourth place finish, as he actually battles for third here. Really thought he'd be battling for the win in Heat 1.
Well, it's been known that Davey Millsaps, it's a fact, he's not a good starter. He's always getting buried back in the pack. He's a big guy. He might be giving these guys probably about 20 pounds, some of these young, smaller riders. But right now, Davey Millsaps, he's clicked off a 52.5, the fastest lap time of this heat race, about a half second faster than Josh Grant, and Davey did it coming to the pack.
He just moves around Steve Boniface to take over third. Good look at Davey Millsaps on the 118, who's moved himself up into third. Davey got a terrible start, and now actually moves himself up into second place. So Davey Millsaps, not well known for the good start, Denny, but battling up towards the front now and almost lost off the front wheel there.
Yeah, Davey's he's a big kid. You know, he's probably giving up 20 pounds, some of these smaller riders, and he's always starting the back of the pack. You know, sometimes that can make you earn it, but you get caught up in the traffic. Some bad things can happen, but he's laying down some of the fastest lap times at 52.5 the lap before at 53.1. He's turning faster lap times than Josh Grant. Meanwhile, Josh out front, though, clear sailing.
And on the final lap here at St. Louis in heat number 1, Josh Grant making his way to the checkered flag, just one more corner. There it is, checkered flag, and Josh Grant takes the win in heat number 1. Top 9 will transfer straight to the main. And our final transfer spot will go to Sean Hamlin carrying the onboard camera. So in a couple corners here, you're going to get the sky right over the finish line jump. A few more whoops, here you go. Quick look over your shoulder. Sean, you're going on to tonight's main event. Let's head downstairs to Chris Devoda.
Josh Grant, our winner, very excited, and I would imagine kind of you're looking for some redemption. I mean, we've talked about how you're kind of the unsung hero for Honda. Do you feel like you've made a statement tonight with that heat win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to come out here and show these people what I've got. I mean, I've trained really hard for this last couple months, and I'm really itching to win. I mean, it's really hard to say, like, you know, what I've been through and what I'm going through, so I'm glad to be up here for them.
He's going to make that statement on his bike tonight in the main event. Back upstairs.
All right, Krista, thank you very much. And as you see from the results, Josh Grant was the first one to the line. Actually, Brandon Jessamine turns out to be the last one to straight transfer on to the main event. Sean Hamlin was 8th. Davey Millsaps works his way all the way up to 2nd.
His dream is alive. I've been hearing this beat in my head. His time has come.
It ain't the size of the dog in the fight, the size of the fight in the dog.
Hustle and Flow. In cinemas everywhere, March 9.
Ray, I ain't gonna beat around the bush with you. You going blind.
Now, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna teach you 3 notes, right? And this is the first note right here. Play that.
How y'all doing tonight?
Better than you!
Showtime presents the extraordinary life story of Ray Charles.
If you want me to do something special, I'm gonna need my own band.
Okay, you're gonna have to make it work, Ray.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby. Yeah.
A man who fought harder.
Nobody's ever combined R&B and gospel before.
You're turning God's music into sex.
Oh, y'all going straight to hell!
And went further.
Well, you know, since I'm producing my own records, I was wondering if I could own my masters too.
Ray, we've never done that before. That's a better deal than Sinatra gets.
Than anyone thought possible.
Are those drugs worth losing everything?
A Taylor Hackford film.
Ray, this isn't some judge in Indiana. Our lawyers will do what they can.
Winner of 2 Academy Awards.
When I walk out that door, I walk out alone in the dark.
Including Best Actor Jamie Foxx.
I'm trying to do something that ain't nobody ever done in music and business.
The innovator of soul, Ray Charles.
Ray. Commences 8:30 Sunday on Showtime.
NBA on ESPN. Live Thursday. Andrew Bogut and the Bucks trying to shore up their playoff chances. Visit Steve Nash in the Valley of the Suns. Bucks, Suns. Live Thursday. The NBA on ESPN.
The PGA Tour presents the 2006 Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. Chad Campbell survived a tumultuous final round in the desert to clinch his 3rd career PGA Tour victory at the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic. Campbell battled himself all day long with 2 bogeys and an ominous double bogey. But to make up for that, he also carded an eagle and 3 birdies. As it turned out, he didn't need birdies to secure the victory. The 31-year-old Texas native used the flat stick to save par for a final round 1 under 71. He finished the week at 25 under par, 3 strokes better than his challengers.
Chad Campbell, your winner here at the 47th edition of the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic.
Congratulations, Chad Campbell, the 2006 Bob Hope Chrysler Classic champion.
Let's show you the Dunlop sponsored starting list for heat number 2. And in this one, we've got Josh Hansen, who we talked about earlier tonight, as a rider who tied for the points lead at the end of 2005.
Yeah, a heartbreaker for Josh Hansen. He almost wins the title, loses on just a matter of not winning enough main events this season, looking to redeem himself.
Here's Krista with another Progressive Direct pre-race report.
A capacity crowd here at the Edward Jones Dome. All of them glad that we're in a dome because it's so cold outside. Josh Hansen, definitely one of them. He's from the West Coast, trains in the West Coast. He went to all the West Coast Lights races this year. He said when he walked out his door, he's like, what the heck have I gotten myself into? He thought Toronto was bad for the Worlds. He said, this is cold. He is so glad we're in a dome. He's hoping to cross some heat with his bike tonight.
Stacking up in the first corner. And it's going to be the 977 jumping out into the early lead here. Actually, I believe that's 577, isn't it, Denny? Martin Davalos.
Martin Davalos with that Star Racing Lucas Oils Yamaha's teammate right there in second. Brian Johnson quickly jumping out front with a couple Hondas in tow.
Teammates battling as we complete the first lap. Krista talked about how cold it was outside today. Oh, Davalos is down. Crashing hard.
Big trip over the bars for Martin. He dropped the front end, lost that rhythm. When you're going through a section of whoops off, you want to touch the front wheel and the rear wheel off of each whoop. He dropped the front end, the rear came over the top, and down he went.
Trying to put Johnson out front. Move to 37 of Kelly Smith from Michigan on his Honda up into second place.
Josh Hansen in third, trying to drop the inside right there. Kelly Smith trying to move into second. Brian Johnson was originally riding the West Coast Series. crashed in a section of whoops, broke his arm, and has now been moved to the E Series. As we take a look at Martin Davalos right here. Watch him, breaks into the whoops. He missed the whoop, drops the front end, and Splato, the Yamaha, just crushes him. Going to the back of the pack. Martin is going to have to go to the last chance qualifier.
Back to the battle for the lead. And here comes the number 100 of Josh Hansen. Hansen challenging Johnson for the lead, and he's going to get it.
Oh, and then he kills the motorcycle. Brian Johnson kills the motorcycle. Kelly Smith piles in the back of him. Both guys are off the track. Opens up the door for Josh Hansen. Just shows how quickly things can change in this lights class. A simple bobble can take you right out of qualifying position and into that last chance qualifier.
So the Red Bull KTM rider now with a healthy lead. Remember, the riders in green across the top of your screen hold the 9 transfer spots straight to the main event. Those riders in red still hopeful they can increase their position and move on to tonight's main.
We've got 4 high-stakes gamblers, 4 of the best poker players in the world, matched up at 4 different events.
Mike has picked a card toss. Ted has picked ping pong. Robert picked air hockey. And I picked a spelling bee.
We are playing for a seat in the final event of the World Series. This is about as high stakes as it gets.
The prop betting is all about ego. And winning this would be huge.
Sports coverage every day is ESPN.
Each year, a footballer gets his shot.
Brilliant goal!
Each year, a giant will fall.
They get the shot!
Each year, prayers are answered, dreams are dashed, and the hopes of clubs, both great and small, will fix onto a single goal. ESPN presents coverage of the oldest tournament in football, the FA Cup, with live matches through to the final. The FA Cup on ESPN. ESPN's Friday Night Fights. With a 23-1 record, Oscar Diaz wants to add his name to the top welterweight list. And now he faces a tough southpaw in Russell Jordan. Friday on ESPN. World Supercross GP on ESPN this Friday. After winning his first GP of the year, Aussie Chad Reed looks to double his pleasure when the Tour swings into Hotlanta. The 2006 World Supercross GP, Friday on ESPN.
Hansen pounding his way through the whoop section.
You see that rhythm section right there, Ralph. He double, triple, then single into the corner. That's exactly where he passed Brian Johnson. Brian was doing double to the entire section, just jumping 2 jumps at a time, while Josh Hansen's jumping 3 at a time. Much quicker way to get to the rhythm section.
Another rhythm section here, single, double, then a triple.
Josh is another rider who had some injuries in the offseason. Actually had some injuries last summer, was unable to compete in the outdoor nationals, spent it under the knife. He went to surgery, had some work on his wrist, had some work on his knee. He's looking back. He went to Canada, raced the 2 preseason races. Now he's looking back. He's 100% ready to fight for this Lights Championship that he lost so closely last season.
On the Red Bull KTM leading heat number 2 here in St. Louis after getting around Brian Johnson. The rider who is expected to challenge for the title this year here on the East Coast Series, has opened up a healthy lead over number 42, Thomas Hahn out of Texas. Chris mentioned earlier, Denny, the temperatures outside here in St. Louis with the wind chill factor down below 0 tonight.
Very cold outside. That's what's so nice. One of the things you got to deal with when you move east, cold temperatures outside, but fortunately we have the dome here, perfect temperatures, and the track as well. You don't have the sun beating down on the track all day long like we had out west. Inside we have this nice dome. You can see the moisture in the ground. You're also going to see some ruts start to develop as the night goes on.
How tough is that for the riders to get themselves prepared to go racing when you're dealing with the temperature change like that?
Well, fortunately here in St. Louis, we're able to pit inside, so the pits are warm. You're able to warm up your body, get ready for these races.
Hansen, Hahn, and Walker on the 122. Matt Walker sits in third. That, of course, is a transfer spot. Top 9 going straight to the main. Hansen will easily do that. Final lap for heat number 2. Pointing to the crowd. One more corner, and Josh Hansen wins heat number 2 here in St. Louis.
Look at this race, Ralph. These guys are all over the place. That's what the great thing about the lights class is. You can put a blanket of over about 15 different guys. These guys battling out in final transfer positions.
Fighting for those last couple of spots. We'll have to wait for the results from scoring to actually break down the top 9. Here's a look at the results and a couple things to point out here. Tucker Hibbert was the rider that fell down in the first corner right after the gate dropped. He worked his way back to an 8th, and Martin Davalos got up and made a transfer spot. Krista.
Possibly no one more excited to get this East Coast season started than Josh Hansen after so narrowly missing the championship last year. You made that look easy.
Yeah, I mean, I came out here. I know what I want to do, and I'm trying to make it happen. But like I said, I'm just thankful for being up, walking, talking. I dedicate this race to James Marshall. I mean, I grew up racing with the kid and stuff, and it's hard to see. And giving you the confidence going into next weekend is hard to see after seeing that. So I couldn't thank Red Bull KTM enough. One Industry Helmets, my dad, Donnie Hansen, Answer Racing, Alpine Star Boots, Hart and Huntington, just everybody in general, Dragon Goggles, for being behind me, and Dunlop Tires.
All right, thanks. Josh Hansen, our winner of heat number 2.
The PGA Tour presents the 2006 Sony Open in Hawaii. Waialae Country Club hosted the first full-field event for the 31st consecutive year. Coming off a career low and new course record 9 under 61 on Saturday, David Toms entered the final round with a share of the 54-hole lead. Sunday, Toms picked up right where he left off, birdieing his first hole en route to a 5 under 65 and a 5-shot victory. The win was the 12th of his career, coming up just 1 stroke short of the 72-hole tournament record. Toms has now won 8 of 10 times when holding at least a share of the 54-hole lead, and has collected a victory in 4 consecutive seasons, the 3rd longest active streak on tour. Congratulations, David Toms, the 2006 Sony Open in Hawaii champion.
Relive another great moment on ESPN. Could he do it again? Would Adam Vinatieri hit another last-second field goal to nail down another Super Bowl victory for the New England Patriots?
And Vinatieri's kick down the middle. The kick is good.
And the New England Patriots were Super Bowl champions for the 2nd time in 3 years. A celebration of sports memories from around the globe. Great moments on ESPN. ESPN brings you a sneak peek at the best teams in the world as they warm up for the World Cup in June. This Thursday, live from Liverpool, David Beckham, Michael Owen and the fearless English squad will face off against Uruguay. Later, as part of the group of death, Holland will have to show its intimidating power against Ecuador. England takes on Uruguay. Later, Holland faces off against Ecuador. This Thursday, live on ESPN. A new chapter in the history of baseball begins with the first World Baseball Classic. 16 nations will measure forces to determine who rules inside the diamond. Round 1 action, Korea versus Chinese Taipei. Friday on ESPN.
Let's show you the Dunlop starting list for the last chance qualifier.